Get off, get off, get off. Get off, get off, get off!
That is the story of the Lockerbie disaster, of how death and destruction in the sky brought death and devastation on the ground below.
Reshaping the theories of search. What is in the wrong area?
This plane suddenly vanished 35 years ago, but now lands with ninth two skeletons. Ever found yourself pondering the unexplained events that unfurl thousands of feet above during flights? Aviation's annals are replete with mysterious incidents, confounding experts and enthusiasts alike. Consider the case of Pacific Airlines, a Canadian company, where an entire plane with passengers and crew mysteriously vanished without a trace, as if it melted into thin air. This gripping video reveals 15 creepiest stories about mysteriously vanished flights. These spine-chilling mid-flight incidents shook the world, etching an indelible mark in aviation history. Number 15. Malaysia Airline Boeing Flight 370. The vanishing act of the notorious Malaysian Airlines Boeing has become a perplexing puzzle, captivating the thoughts of a vast audience. This enigmatic tale, still vivid and unsettling, defies the expectations of our 21st century civilization, where we assume every nook and cranny of the globe can be meticulously traced. Embarking from the bustling Malaysian capital, Kuala Lumpur, on March 8, 2014, Flight MH370 set its course for Beijing with 227 passengers and 14 crew members. Yet the fate of these souls remains shrouded in tragedy and bewildering mystery. As the aircraft neared Vietnamese airspace, an uncanny event unfolded. The transponder went silent, and the flight abruptly reversed its designated path, ultimately slipping away from radar screens. In the aftermath of this surreal occurrence, a global quest for answers unfolded, consuming the collective curiosity of nations. While a prevailing assumption suggested a remote crash in the Indian Ocean, south of Australia, diverse theories emerged, ranging from mechanical glitches to hijacking, and even the grim possibility of the pilot's suicide. However, the latter notion was dismissed, as it was revealed that the plane's communication signals were deliberately disabled from within the aircraft. Adding to the strange complexity, the flight path had also been manually altered before its enigmatic disappearance. Despite exhaustive searches, only charred remnants have been unearthed and washed ashore. Meanwhile, the elusive fuselage and the enigmatic black box, which could hold vital clues, remain tantalizingly out of reach. The saga of Flight MH370 persists as an unresolved riddle, haunting our collective imagination with its myriad unanswered questions. Number 14. British Airways 5390. On a seemingly ordinary day, June 10, 1990, the story of British Airways Flight 5390 unfolded, turning a routine journey from Birmingham to Malaga into a captivating aviation saga. Captain Timothy Lancaster and co-pilot Alistair Aitchison, seasoned aviators, were suddenly thrust into the heart of a gripping incident only 20 minutes after takeoff. As the plane climbed to 17,300 feet, an ominous boom echoed through the cockpit, thrusting the flight into the realm of the unimaginable. A sudden decompression triggered a catastrophic event. The cockpit window exploded, propelling Captain Lancaster halfway out of the aircraft. His lower body tangled in flight controls, and his upper body exposed to the furious slipstream and freezing temperatures. A life and death struggle unfolded. In a remarkable display of resilience, co-pilot Aitchison took charge. Amid the chaos, flight attendants grappled with Lancaster's peril, confronting violent winds and sub-zero temperatures. Passengers, rattled yet obedient, swiftly donned oxygen masks and assumed brace positions as the crew navigated the urgent crisis. Flight attendant Nigel Ogden bravely clung to Captain Lancaster for a harrowing 15 minutes before succumbing to the forces at play. Meanwhile, Aitchison skillfully executed a challenging emergency descent and landed with Lancaster injured on the cockpit floor, achieving a triumph against seemingly insurmountable odds. Against all odds, Lancaster survived the harrowing ordeal, recovering from frostbite, fractures, and shock. Astonishingly, he returned to flying within 5 months, a testament to his indomitable spirit. The ensuing investigation uncovered a startling maintenance error: incorrect bolts used during windshield replacement by a contractor who ignored British Airways procedures. The aftermath of Flight 5390 prompted a worldwide reevaluation of airline industry maintenance practices. The incident highlighted the courage, professionalism, and resilience of the flight crew, whose swift actions unquestionably saved the lives of all 87 passengers. While terrifying, the events of Flight 5390 played a crucial crucial role in reshaping global aviation safety measures, underscoring the vital need for stringent standards and procedures in the face of unforeseen perils. Number 13, a plane lands 37 years later. In an astonishing tale that sounds like it's ripped from the pages of a sci-fi script, a Douglas DC-4 aircraft named Pan AM Flight 914 embarked on an unexpected odyssey that spanned an incredible 37 years. The surreal journey began innocently enough on July 2, 1955, when the plane, loaded with 57 passengers and 6 crew members, took off from a New York City airport with its destination set for sunny Miami, Florida. However, the routine flight, which should have lasted just a few hours, mysteriously vanished from the radar, leaving no trace of its whereabouts. Then, out of the blue on March 9, 1985, the long-lost aircraft reappeared over Caracas, Venezuela, catching everyone by surprise. As the bewildered passengers gazed out onto a world that had changed drastically, the pilot, in an unexpected turn of events, tossed a small calendar out the window before hastily maneuvering back to the runway, vanishing as abruptly as he had arrived. The intrigue deepens as reports suggest that both the Venezuelan and United States governments, shrouded in secrecy, seized the mysterious calendar and tower tapes, refusing to disclose any details over the intervening decades. Speculation has run rampant on the internet, with theories ranging from the plane traversing a time portal or wormhole to the possibility of a return journey through the same enigmatic passage. While the story bears a resemblance to a plotline from a blockbuster movie, its authenticity remains a puzzling enigma, leaving us to question whether this extraordinary event is a spine-chilling reality or an elaborate fabrication. Number 12. The Silent Flight 522. Helios, the saga of the infamous Flight 522 from the Cypriot company Helios, stands out as one of the most jolting and heart-wrenching aviation disasters of the 21st century. Even now, it baffles the mind how such a catastrophic event could unfold on a journey that, by all measures, was anticipated to be flawless. The Boeing 737, originally bound from Larnaca to Prague, tragically ended up hurtling into the mountains near the settlement of Grammatiko in Greece, a mere 5 minutes into its flight. The harrowing tale begins with an ominous warning signal sounding in the cockpit. Unfortunately, this signal mimicked the takeoff configuration alert, leading the crew to dismiss it as they continued their ascent. As the aircraft reached 5,500 meters, oxygen masks were deployed throughout the cabin. Attempts to communicate with the pilots proved futile due to the encroaching hypoxia, which left them critically deprived of oxygen at the staggering altitude of 10,000 meters. A surreal scene unfolded as the plane, under autopilot, became a silent, ghostly vessel. Operational instruments and cabin lights painted an eerie picture, but there was no sign of movement. Passengers and crew succumbed to unconsciousness within moments, as if enchanted. 2 Greek F-16 fighter jets were dispatched to intercept the flight, discovering an empty captain's seat and a slumped-over co-pilot upon approach. Amidst this tragic tableau, a lone steward managed to enter the cockpit, armed with an oxygen cylinder. Yet the flight was doomed. Fuel had depleted, and the plane descended steadily, gliding in the sky without power. The steward's heroic efforts to guide the plane away from populated areas could not alter the inevitable outcome. The aircraft, running on empty, collided with the mountains, bouncing briefly before shattering into fragments. The catastrophic crash, claiming the lives of all 121 passengers and crew members, not only plunged the airline into bankruptcy, but also etched itself as one of the most haunting tragedies in history. Number 11. The mysterious Flight 513. The enigma surrounding Flight 513 stands as a singular tale in the rich history of aviation, weaving a narrative of disappearance and reappearance that not only perplexed the aviation community, but also ignited fervent debates among both conspiracy theorists and skeptics alike. On that fateful day, September 4th, 1954, a Lockheed Super Constellation airliner christened Flight 513 and operated by Santiago Airlines embarked on a journey from Aachen, Germany with 88 passengers bound for Porto Alegre, Brazil. With an anticipated flight time of roughly 18 hours, an extended yet routine duration for the era, the airliner, however, defied expectations by never reaching its intended destination. Following a routine in-flight message, the plane and its occupants vanished without a trace. Despite exhaustive search and rescue efforts, no wreckage or indication of the aircraft's fate surfaced. Weeks morphed into months, and months stretched into years, enveloping Flight 513 in an aura of mystery alongside other unexplained disappearances in aviation history. The families and friends of those aboard were left grappling with despair, devoid of any closure. Then, on the unexpected date of October 12, 1989, 35 years after its puzzling disappearance, a plane materialized in the skies over Porto Alegre, and it was none other than Flight 513. Touching down safely at the airport, the reappearance sent shockwaves through air traffic controllers and ground staff, casting doubt and disbelief. Skeptics argue that the tale of Flight 513 is a fabrication, pointing to the absence of official records and public documentation about the flight. They emphasize the lack of passenger manifestos, air traffic control records, or concrete evidence. Despite the skepticism, the narrative of Santiago Flight 513 persists, a mystery frozen in time that continues to captivate. Whether born of collective imagination or a genuinely unexplained phenomenon, the story remains an eerie exploration of the uncharted realms of time and space. It serves as a haunting reminder that despite technological advancements, aspects of our reality elude comprehension, fueling our curiosity about the world and beyond. Number 10. Convertible plane. Think you've seen a lot of convertibles? Well, planes may not be your usual convertible, but let me tell you about Flight 243, a flying spectacle that turned into an unexpected open-air experience. This tale took off from Hilo International Airport on April 28, 1988, carrying 5 crew members and 90 passengers bound for Honolulu. Everything seemed shipshape during the departure inspection, as the plane had completed 3 round-trip flights earlier that day. However, when the aircraft reached its normal cruising altitude of 24,000 feet, things went topsy-turvy. With a sudden whooshing sound, a section on the left side of the roof ruptured, catching everyone off guard. The captain felt the aircraft swaying, and the controls went unexpectedly loose. It was a jaw-dropping moment when officers noticed debris floating in the cockpit, realizing the cockpit door had vanished, offering them a direct view of the endless blue sky. In an instant, an 18-foot section of the roof tore off, causing chaos on board. Tragically, a flight attendant named Clarabelle Lansing was swept out of the plane while standing near the 5th-row seats, her body never to be found. Despite passengers having their seatbelts fastened, 8 individuals suffered serious injuries. Amidst the pandemonium, Captain Schornsteimer took control as the pilot, Officer Tompkins, struggled to manage the erratic plane. Declaring an emergency, they diverted to Kahului Airport for an immediate landing. The ordeal, however, wasn't done yet. During the approach, the left engine failed, adding another layer of uncertainty. Yet through expert maneuvers, the crew managed a normal landing just 13 minutes after the terrifying incident. Upon landing, emergency evacuation slides were deployed, and passengers swiftly exited the aircraft. It was a hair-raising experience that turned Flight 243 into an airborne drama with an unexpected but miraculous ending. Number 9. Flight 311, Thai Airways. This flight serves as a sobering lesson for pilots worldwide, depicting the worst-case scenario of airborne mishaps in mountainous terrain, bearing the ominous label of "It can't get worse." The narrative unfolds on July 31, 1992, as Thai Airways Flight 311, an Airbus A310, embarked on a journey from Bangkok to Kathmandu. The backdrop of Kathmandu Airport, ensconced by towering mountains to the north, crucially influences the unfolding events. Approaches are limited to the south, setting the stage for a fateful incident that resulted in a catastrophic plane crash, claiming the lives of all 113 individuals on board. Vanishing over the Himalayas, the wreckage was discovered miles off course a few days later. Compounding the tragedy was the absence of a radar system at the Nepalese airport, coupled with a dispatcher with only 2 months of experience. Initial complications arose when the aircraft's flaps failed to retract, prompting the captain to request a go-around. A series of miscommunications between the crew and the dispatcher steered the plane in the wrong direction. The activation of the ground proximity warning system went unheeded, as the crew doubted its credibility. By the time they grasped the gravity of the situation, it was too late. The aircraft collided with a mountain peak at 3,500 meters, disintegrating into a mere black spot on the rock face, with scattered debris strewn far below. The tragic tale echoes a poignant reminder of the perils inherent in navigating the skies, especially in challenging terrains. Number 8. Stardust CS59. For more than 7 decades, the Stardust incident has stood as one of the most perplexing chapters in the world of aviation. Stardust, a transport plane belonging to British South American Airways, BSAA, met a tragic fate, disintegrating in the skies and leaving an indelible mark of mystery. The passenger flight, CS59 of the South American Airlines, embarked on a journey from Buenos Aires to Santiago, carrying a diverse group of passengers that seemed straight out of a movie. A cast fit for a riveting murder mystery. Among the intriguing passengers were 2 business friends, a Swiss and an Englishman, a Palestinian rumored to carry diamonds sewn into his clothes, another businessman, and a Chilean citizen returning home from Germany. An English diplomat with crucial documents for the British Embassy added a diplomatic flair to the ensemble. Boarding on August 2, 1947, despite the perilous route through a dangerous mountain pass, the high-caliber pilot promised a safe and scenic flight above the mountain peaks. However, a bizarre Morse code message reading Stendek was received shortly before the anticipated arrival, plunging the aviation community into confusion. The decrypted message suggested a descent, but the radio operator's misinterpretation sparked an enduring mystery. Despite extensive search efforts by the Chilean and Argentine armies, no trace of the Stardust flight was found. Fueling speculation, some researchers even proposed extraterrestrial abduction. It wasn't until 1998 that Argentine mountaineers stumbled upon the remnants of the plane's engine on a mountain 80 kilometers from Santiago. Subsequent expeditions in 2000 uncovered further crash debris, including parts of the propeller, landing gear, and human remains identified through DNA analysis. Yet the crucial question of what caused the plane to crash into the mountainside remains shrouded in mystery, a puzzle that eludes our understanding even to this day. Number 7. The jump into the unknown, DB Cooper hijacking. One of aviation's enduring mysteries that has captured the imagination for decades is the DB Cooper case. It's not a typical tale of a vanishing aircraft, but rather an audacious hijacking perpetrated by a cunning criminal who mysteriously disappeared into thin air. The intriguing saga unfolded on the afternoon of November 24, 1971, a day before Thanksgiving, when a man identifying himself as DB Cooper boarded Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 from Portland to Seattle. Described as an unremarkable figure in his mid-40s, clad in a business suit with a black tie and white shirt, and carrying a black attaché case, Cooper initially seemed like an ordinary passenger. Polite and well-spoken, he defied the stereotypical image of a hardened criminal. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to a flight attendant, revealing a bomb in his briefcase and announcing the hijacking. Upon inspection of the attaché case, the flight attendant discovered red cylinders, wires, and a battery, indicating a potential bomb. Cooper then laid out his demands: $200,000 in cash, equivalent to roughly $1.3 million today, 4 parachutes, and a fueled truck ready for the aircraft's landing in Seattle. Authorities were alerted, and fearing for the safety of those on board, they hastened to meet Cooper's demands. Once the plane landed in Seattle, Cooper allowed all passengers and some crew members to disembark. With his demands fulfilled, he directed the crew to fly towards Mexico City, but with a peculiar flight plan. Cooper insisted on low altitude, landing gear down, and a speed slower than usual, ideal conditions for a parachute jump. Somewhere between Seattle and Reno, amid a rainstorm, Cooper executed a daring escape by jumping from the rear stairs of the still-flying Boeing 727 into the dark, frigid, and stormy night, carrying the ransom money into the unknown. When the plane touched down in Reno, law enforcement swarmed the aircraft, but DB Cooper had vanished. An extensive manhunt ensued, involving federal, state, and local agencies scouring the possible jump zone. Yet no trace of Cooper, the parachute, or the money was found, except for a small cache of bills discovered in 1980 near the Columbia River. The investigation, codenamed Norjack, meaning Northwest Hijacking, spanned decades, following thousands of leads. Several suspects emerged, with some even confessing to being Cooper, but none were definitively proven. The DB Cooper case became a part of American folklore, a classic tale of an anti-hero who outwitted the system, disappearing without a trace. The audacious hijacking left an indelible mark on aviation security worldwide, prompting stricter measures. As of today, it remains the only unsolved case of air piracy in commercial aviation history. The FBI officially closed its active investigation in 2016 after a 45-year hunt, but the case file remains open on a suspense basis, allowing for consideration of any significant physical evidence that may emerge related to the parachutes or the money. Number 6. Miraculous landing. On a fateful day in 1972, Flight 367 embarked on a journey from Stockholm to Belgrade, with layovers in Copenhagen and Zagreb, etching an extraordinary tale that would soon capture the world's attention. The aviation saga began with an inadvertent mix-up by the management, intertwining the destinies of two flight attendants, both named Vesna. Little did anyone know that this mix-up would set the stage for a miraculous survival story. Vesna Vulovic, one of the attendants, found herself on Flight 367, blissfully unaware of the administrative confusion. Excitement brimmed within her as the plane, departing from Stockholm's Orlando airport, soared into the skies on January 26th. The aircraft gracefully touched down at Copenhagen Airport, seemingly routine until an unusual incident unfolded. Vesna, recounting the events, noticed a disgruntled passenger disembarking in Copenhagen, never to return. Unbeknownst to all, a catastrophic twist awaited the flight. Around 45 minutes into the journey from Copenhagen, a deafening explosion ruptured the tranquility, tearing through the baggage compartment. The once pristine aircraft disintegrated over the Czechoslovak village of Srpska Kamenice. Amidst the chaos, Vesna emerged as the sole survivor. Blood-soaked and disheveled, she was discovered by a villager, Bruno Honka, whose past as a World War II medic proved invaluable. Against all odds, Vesna clung to life until rescuers arrived. Curiosity may arise as to how Vesna defied the odds. The answer lies in a miraculous landing. Investigators attributed her survival to being trapped by a food cart in the fuselage. As the plane broke away and hurtled towards the ground, the fuselage, with Vesna pinned inside, landed at an angle on a snow-covered mountainside, cushioning the impact. The gripping account doesn't end there. Vesna's history of low blood pressure played a role. It caused her to lose consciousness swiftly during the cabin depressurization, preventing her heart from bursting on impact. The medical marvel had managed to conceal her low blood pressure to secure her job as a flight attendant, relying on copious amounts of coffee. Post-impact, Vesna's ordeal continued as she spent days in a coma. Her laundry list of injuries included a fractured skull, cerebral hemorrhage, 2 broken legs, 3 broken vertebrae, a crushed pelvis, and numerous broken ribs. Despite total amnesia and paralysis, Vesna embodied the miraculous resilience of the human spirit, transcending the realms of possibility in one of aviation's most astonishing survival stories. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. This plane suddenly vanished 35 years ago, but now lands with 92 skeletons. In the dense jungles of West Bengal, an ordinary rescue operation took an extraordinary turn. The mission aimed to find a recently crashed plane, yet the team stumbled upon the eerie remnants of Flight JL50, which had mysteriously vanished without a trace 35 years ago. This stunning revelation solved one of aviation's oldest mysteries, leaving the world bewildered. As investigators combed through the wreckage, they uncovered a spine-chilling discovery. This plane suddenly vanished 35 years ago, but now lands with 92 skeletons, echoed through the dense forest, sending shivers down their spines. Among the skeletal remains, the surreal sight of 2 bodies in a perpetual coma added another layer of complexity to the mystery. The evidence pointed towards a horrifying end. The flight had fallen victim to inexperienced hijackers who, unable to control the aircraft, led it to a tragic crash. The jungles, once silent witnesses, now held the long-lost secrets of Flight JL50, unraveling a tale that had baffled the aviation world for decades. Was it hijacked? Let us know your thoughts about this plane in the comments below. Number 5. The flight that vanished without a trace. On the ominous evening of January 30th, 1979, the Boeing 707-323C, registered as PPVLU, embarked on a journey from Narita International Airport to Los Angeles International Airport, with an intended pit stop at Rio de Janeiro Galeão International Airport. However, this routine flight turned into an enigma as the aircraft mysteriously vanished, leaving behind a trail of perplexity. Operated by Varick, a cargo carrier, The Boeing 707 took off from Narita International Airport 8:23 p.m., with the last radio contact occurring at 8:45 p.m. The anticipated radio communication at 9:23 never materialized, and approximately 200 kilometers from Tokyo, the plane disappeared into an unsettling silence. The cargo manifest revealed a precious cargo of 53 paintings by the renowned artist Manabu Mabe, valued at a staggering $1.2 million. Astonishingly, neither the wreckage nor the invaluable paintings were ever located, giving rise to a plethora of speculations. Some theorize a sinister plot by the 6-member flight crew to abscond with the artwork, while others posit a catastrophic malfunction that obliterated the plane, leaving no trace. The absence of concrete evidence amplifies the mystery surrounding the event. If the crew did indeed pilfer the paintings, logic dictates they would have left a trace. Yet to this day, the fate of the paintings and the crew remains shrouded in eerie silence, transforming this incident into an unsettling and perplexing chapter in aviation history. Number 4. B47 Stratjet. The puzzle of a vanishing plane becomes even more intricate when it carries something extraordinary. In the year 1965, the Boeing B47 Stratjet, an American jet bomber developed in the mid-1940s, embarked on a journey from a Florida military base, destined for a Moroccan airbase with planned aerial refuelings. The first refueling proceeded seamlessly, but during the second, soaring over the Mediterranean Sea, the tanker lost sight of the B-47. Curiously, the aircraft didn't merely descend into a cloud, it vanished into the sky. Extensive searches, spanning vast distances, yielded nothing but perplexity. No wreckage, no crew, no witnesses, and no traces of the catastrophe. The lingering questions surrounding the disappearance revolve around the plane's cargo, which held 2 capsules containing material crucial for crafting a nuclear bomb. While the material itself couldn't detonate, its significance for weapon production was paramount. The possibility of interception looms, raising concerns about the true fate of this perilous aircraft. A secret perhaps known to someone, but certainly not to us. Number 3. Flight712 Air Lingus. Even after 55 years since the tragic crash of Air Lingus Flight 712, the mystery surrounding its descent into the sea near Tusker Rock Island in the United Kingdom remains elusive to investigators. Flight 712, a routine journey from Cork to Heathrow over the Irish Sea, had been completed numerous times, yet on that fateful day, the passengers aboard would never experience another laughter-filled landing. The prevailing theory suggests a collision with migrating swans during the harsh Irish winter could have triggered the catastrophic crash. While investigations acknowledge this possibility, doubts linger about whether it was the sole cause. Another intriguing aspect is that the flight traversed an active missile range, raising suspicions that it might have been mistaken for a clandestine drone. The British military ship Penelope conducted exercises in the vicinity, although they vehemently denied any involvement. Adding to the perplexity, all records for that date mysteriously vanished from the ship's log. The weather on the day of the flight was perfect, and no troubles were anticipated. However, the last communication from the cockpit revealed a sudden descent to 3,500 meters. Despite efforts by another plane in the vicinity to locate Flight 712, it vanished from sight. Its wreckage was eventually discovered about 10 kilometers from the island. Yet the answers to this aviation enigma have remained elusive. Intriguingly, Aer Lingus continues to operate Flight 712, a poignant testament to a mystery in the skies. Number 2. A plane that lost its engine. Midway through its journey from Atlanta to Baltimore, the 32-year-old Delta Flight 1425 encountered a startling event. A thunderous bang reverberated through the plane, filling the cabin with smoke in an instant. The captain swiftly relayed the distressing news, a lost engine, and announced imminent preparations for an emergency landing. Panic gripped the passengers as the aircraft decelerated. Amidst the fear, most fumbled for their phones, sending messages to loved ones, anticipating the worst. Yet, amidst the apprehension, one passenger courageously recorded the unfolding drama. His footage captured a spine-chilling sight. A loose metal part within the engine, adorned with an eerie orange glow. A dislodged nose cone was identified as the culprit, triggering the mechanical ordeal. With caution prevailing, the flight crew opted to divert to Raleigh. Passengers were instructed to brace for an emergency landing. Thankfully, the flight, carrying 154 individuals, touched down safely in Raleigh, North Carolina, concluding an episode of airborne suspense. Number 1. Kenyon Airline 507. In the realm of air travel, passengers entrust their safety to the capable hands of the crew and captain, anticipating a journey prioritizing their well-being. However, for those aboard Kenyon Airlines Flight 507, reality took a harrowing turn. A sequence of inexplicable pilot errors unfolded, resulting in one of the most devastating airline disasters in history. Originating from Côte d'Ivoire, the initial leg of the flight proceeded smoothly. However, at the Cameroon airport, where 3 planes, including Flight 507, awaited departure to Douala, stormy conditions prompted a delay across the region. In a departure from protocol, Captain Francis Mabario, aged 52, defied the norm by taking off without official clearance, relying solely on his discretion. At an altitude of 300 meters, chaos ensued. The autopilot failed to engage, a critical detail overlooked by the pilots until the aircraft began tilting sharply to the right. The realization of the error struck belatedly, akin to a realization that civilian aviation differs vastly from military protocols. The aircraft entered a fatal spin, hurtling down before crashing into a mangrove swamp, burying 108 unfortunate souls in wet mud. Of those on board, only a fraction survived to recount the tragic tale. The accident report attributed the calamity to fatal errors by the deceased pilot amidst stormy conditions and severe spatial disorientation. The inexplicable compulsion that propelled Captain Mabario toward impending doom remains a haunting mystery. This catastrophe, preventable by a simple act of patience, underscores the profound impact of hasty decisions in aviation. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.